those up.
Okay.
Ellies.
Are you recording? Can I stop?
It should start recording. There we go. Yeah.
Okay, so now we've started recording. So once you want to actually, I'm going to go back to the home page. When you want to initiate a credit application, you click on select process. Once you click on select process, it will always give you all of the options you have. So you can see here we have the credit application process, we have the credit limit increase application process, and we also have sales pre-vetting. Okay, so now you will then decide, do I want to start or initiate a credit application, or am I actually initiating a credit limit increase application? Okay, so let's say we were doing a credit application. We will then click on start. Once you click on start, this screen will open up, and this is now the Inoxico database where you can search for a specific company, either using the name or a registration number. A reminder, Inoxico is integrated into CIPC, SARS, as well as the courts. But with regards to CIPC and SARS, it means that if a company is VAT registered, you should find it in our database. And also if a company is registered through CIPC, you should be able to find it in our database. There may be instances where you are looking to vet a company that is not a registered entity. It's a sole proprietorship, it's a partnership, it's government entity, it's an out of South Africa entity. You might not always find that company in our database. However, you are still able to proceed. Okay, so now let's say we are going to search for a company called Earthlink. Okay, so now you can see that if I search using the name, it will bring up companies that have similar names. However, this is the Earthlink that I'm looking for. If I actually search for this company using the registration number, okay, then it only brings me the required or desired company, and it actually filters my search. Okay, so that's why we always recommend that you search either using the VAT number or the registration number. Now, what happens in an instance where you're searching for a sole proprietor or a government entity and a company that's not existing in our database? You don't need to stress, because if you search and then you can't find the desired company, you can click on this option. Can't find your company, add it now. So I would click here, and then I can specify and I can still proceed as per normal. Okay, so that's basically just how it works. If a company is obviously existing in our database, you can click on that specific company and everything will pre-populate, and you'll just need to provide these details. However, if that company is not in our database, you then click on can't find your company, add it now, and you can then specify all of the details as per normal. There's an additional step where if you can't find the company, once you click on continue here, it will come into Inoxico for us to actually create what we call a Nox ID and to add the company onto our database. Once we've added that company onto our database, it will then go back to the initial risk reviewer and follow the normal process. It's just a little additional step, but basically you are able to proceed whether the company is existing in our database or not. Okay. Just waiting on the system. Sorry, my network is a bit slow. Okay, so now for this exercise, this is the company that we are looking for. We will then click on the company and we will specify the customer's contact information. This is now the person that we are sending the credit application to. So that person will be the person completing this. So I'll send it to myself. Okay, and we've added this field. Those that were here would notice that was not there before. So now you can actually specify your region as the requester, whether you are Johannesburg, and so on and so forth. So I'll select Johannesburg and we will continue. And click on initiate. Any questions thus far?
Still fine.
Just waiting on the system, please. I beg your patience.
So the region that we just added in, so which wasn't there before, this is the same as when you look at your credit application, and you have that tick box that you're used to seeing, or to show which area that is working with. So that's what the region is for. Just that's, we didn't add that in yesterday, but it is a part of the workflow now.
Okay.
BC, I think the only thing that we'll need to do is just confirm which credit controllers sit in which region, and which salespeople, if they are segmented, sit in each region, so that, you know, the right salesperson gets to the right credit controller, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, now I'm just waiting for the email. So maybe just to take everybody through what we've done. So as a salesperson, I have initiated the credit application request. Now the next step is that the application is going to go under the initial risk check stage, where a credit controller will get an email for that specific region. So that's why I was specifying Johannesburg, because the Johannesburg credit controllers or credit controller will then get an email that they need to action. Just waiting on the email. Is there someone saying something?
Probably waiting on the email. Does anybody have any questions about, you know, where? Apologies that the system is a little bit slow today. We're just waiting on the next step application to come through so that we can move over on to the next stage.
Sorry about that, guys.
That needs to be set to her to prove the initial roster.
Thank you so much for everyone's patience. The email has finally arrived. This is what the email would look like. And as you can see, it will then advise the initial risk reviewer that there is your action is required on a specific company's credit application. It has undergone the several risk checks and it's now ready for review. And the initial or the credit controller will then click on view results. Oh no, we're just not winning today, are we? Busi is also on the line.
Nope, she's in a meeting now. Do you have is there anything I can assist with?
Yeah, the thing is the email was also directed to her.
You need to change that.
Yeah.
You can't redirect it to you again.
Busi,
Yes.
it has been directed to you. Can you please just check your inbox and tell me?
Yeah. Nothing is yet. There's nothing on my emails.
There won't be, sorry, Busi, are you logged into Fabric? Remember I said before, there won't be anything on your emails. It will just be under Action Center. You'll have the view option.
Is it under paper cut?
And no, this will be the live.
The live one, the live link.
Let me quickly pop that to you in the chat.
Okay.
I can do it as well.
So I'm just posting the link for you in the chat box.
Okay. Can't even remember my password. Yes. Correct password.
Hi, Busi. Don't you think it's better if we use UAT? Just because of time. I'm looking at time.
Yeah.
And everybody that's on the call. I think it's best if we just make use of the UIT environment for training purposes,
Okay.
because yeah, live can be a bit tricky when it comes to training.
When you say UAT, are we going on that platform that we use when we're testing?
Yes.
Okay.
So it won't be a real application, but just to take you through the process, because I can see that this is
Taking a bit of time, and yeah.
So let's just quickly switch to the UAT. So it will look a little bit different in terms of the features that we've added this morning, like for example, region will not be in the UAT space, but the process flow will be the same. So we're just going to use it as a concept idea. So we'll quickly change now.
I'm just going to stop sharing while I prepare.
Also, while you guys are doing that, I just want to pose a question to the credit controllers that is there sales people in the regions that will initiate the credit application or will be initiated by the credit controllers, so that we know that we need to do another set of training that will include the regions. Ellies?
I think maybe speak to the sales managers if they're happy with the representatives doing this, and then maybe schedule another training session.
Yeah, because if that's the case, I will need the sales candidate's name and surname and their email addresses so that they can attend the training. So it's fine if that's the answer. I will also send an email to the branch managers.
Thank you.
Thanks. You can continue, Nomfundo.
So
Thank you, Lucy. I will shortly.
So we just
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, can you hear me? Sorry about that. I realized that we were on mute. So I was just saying that what we're going to show the team of Ellies is we're just going into a space where it's just a testing platform. So the credit application is not going to a real person, and it just goes within the Inoxico system. It will look slightly different to what we've been showing you now, which is your application, which is live, that does go to a customer. It's just really to help you understand, how do you request a credit application? Where would it go? What would it look like to the client? And then what will it look like when it comes back into your world? So we're just going to log into our system on this side. So the things that we added, like region, will not appear there, but it will be when you are using the application. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense of what we mean by UAT, and it's just the testing platform. Does anyone have any questions up until this point? Not yet. Okay, so the one thing that I wanted to just say as well is from a sales perspective, so you saw we had something called the sales pre-vetting. We're not going to walk you through what that looks like because it's not necessarily a step that the credit controllers need to do. But just so you know what that is, when a salesperson is engaging with a customer, before they even, go through the trouble of reaching out and engaging with them, and then 6 months down the line, they bring in a credit application and it gets declined, the sales pre-vetting is really the knockout rules to say, is this customer older than three years? Do they have more than one director? Are they in a negative or a good business status? And, is this customer the kind of customer that we want to do business with? So that's the sales pre-vetting tool that you will see on your dashboard when you log into the Fabric system. just to let you know, like just so that's the kind of thing that the client would go through, salesperson would go through. So they do the sales pre-vetting. They say, yes, this is a good customer, we want to do business with them. They do that, it gives them the okay, and then they would initiate a credit application. Obviously, in between that, they engage and they phone and they do whatever the salesperson needs to do before shooting that that application off to the customer. So that's what the sales pre-vetting tool does. That step will obviously be skipped from a credit controller. I know sometimes you initiate credit applications directly from you. You can use the sales pre-vetting tool if you want to do some pre-knockout rules, and then, or you can just go straight into requesting a credit application. The next step in the process obviously follows through, so you do the credit application, but you saw that there was one workflow called a credit limit increase. What that process is about, and we won't take you through it, but it's really just a condensed version of your credit application process. Obviously, it's not asking all the questions that we would ask if it was new. So this is when you're initiating a credit application of someone who is already a customer of yours, so that it makes it a little bit shorter. So we're going to share our screen. Please let us know when you can see it. And just give us a thumbs up.
Everybody's still there?
If we didn't bore you to sleep.
You can see it.
Okay,
We are here.
Yes. See.
Yeah.
So guys, just as explained before, sorry so much about the technical glitches that we were having in the live environment. I know it's not good for an hour session because we've lost a lot of time, but now we're in the UAT environment. All of the emails are going to go into one mailbox, which is paper cut. So that will hopefully speed up the process. So you will then click on select process. And as I said, you will then select whether you want to do a credit limit increase application or whether you want to do a credit application. We are going to select credit application. We are still going to use the company Ethlink, and we will then search for that specific company. Do not forget, if you can't find the company, you can click on can't find your company, add it now, and you'll still be able to proceed. If it's a registered entity, it should be here. If it's VAT registered, it should be here as well. And then you will then click on that specific company and you will specify the person you would like the credit application link to actually go to. I will choose myself here again.
We're just playing the role of you. We are now credit controllers for Ellies.
Or sales.
Or sales. So this is that part that, just so that you know which role we are playing at the moment. So now we have chosen, you know, the credit app, the client that we want to engage with, and we're just going through this process. So this is all in your world. We'll tell you when we become the customer. It's just thinking about it.
This process takes a bit of time because this is when the system actually goes and looks at all of the risk checks. So it goes and checks, does the company have judgments? Are they in a valid business state? Are they an existing customer of yours? Have you declined them before? So there's a lot that it actually checks in the background. So this is why this particular process, whether in the UAT or live environment, will always take a bit of time because the system is gathering all of the information in the background. Then once it's done, you will see here, it will give you this indicator that you can request another application. But now what has happened is the sales or credit person has initiated the credit application. It's now at the initial risk review check, which I understand is currently fulfilled by the credit controllers. The relevant credit controller will get an email. They'll be able to click on view results. And they'll be able to see now all of the risk check results that were conducted in the background. So remember, the company we're looking at is Ethelink, so it will just give you an overview of that company, and then also it will then give the risk checks. So now, as you can see here, it says that the applicant did not meet the requirements as per the risk checks because there's that one cross, and that's just because there's adverse information on other business interests that were found. So if you decide that this is not an important risk check, you can override that and still continue as a credit controller. Or if maybe it was a cross against the court notice and you decided that, oh, that's serious, I don't want to go ahead, you could then decide on to declining the application. Okay, but for this purpose, because the adverse information is on other business interest, we are going to click on submit. Now what has happened is the salesperson has initiated the credit application. The credit controller has actioned their part and their portion of the application process. And now the customer has received an email where they can then actually complete and start completing the digital application. Okay, any questions thus far? Yeah, I'll take that as a no. So then the customer will then click on complete application. There is the standard introductory that we have here. I don't know if you were advised that this can be changed. If you would like the wording to be changed, or there's other things you would like to include within this particular session, that can be done. And then the customer will then click on the fact that they give consent for us to do a credit report and the sharing of data with a credit bureau for risk assessment purposes, and they'll be able to click on next. And once they click on next, and please do not faint, we have removed the deed of surety part from the live environment. It's just that we hadn't aligned UAT with live just as yet, but this is no longer there. It is not a requirement. The only thing they will have to provide is the verification of VAT. And also they can then provide their COR 39 document and click on next. I'll attach something here because I see it's mandatory, and they can move on. Okay, everything that we have on our system will pre-populate. So as you can see, all of the information is now pre-populating. If they have a trading name, they will then specify. And if the date of registration is not the same as the date of when they actually started trading, they can then specify that as well and click on next. Addresses, it's the registered address. The registered address cannot be changed on this platform. If somebody feels that their registered address is incorrect, they will need to sort that out directly with CIPC. That's also why we've grayed out the registered address, because that's a CIPC given address. With regards to the physical address and postal address, they may select same as registered address, or they can actually put a custom address and click on the map and specify the actual physical address. Same with the postal, it's either it's the same as the registered, or it's the same as the physical, or they can also go and capture a custom address and then move forward. Contact information. Company's email, contact number, cell phone number if they do have one, and the website. So now this usually is just generic information. What's their generic email and so on and so forth. Then they'll be able to provide supplier information. This is for trade reference purposes. They just click on the ad and then they can provide the relevant details. Bank account information. If I click on next, as you can see, this section is a mandatory section, so they won't be able to move forward without actually completing the bank account information. And as far as I understand, the bank statements as well. I'm just capturing the banking detail. and capture their statements, and then the customer will be able to move forward. Principal review. Now this speaks to the directors of the company according to CIPC. Now, as you can see, these are the directors of this company. We cannot remove or change CIPC directors. However, they can add other directors if it's a case of CIPC took a bit of time with the update or whatever the case may be, how they cannot remove directors. Okay, and then this will be the final screen that the customer will actually complete, which then asks them, are you authorized to enter into agreements on behalf of the company? So this company is obviously Earthlink Contractors. If you noticed, I'm one of the directors, so yeah, I am authorized, and then I can then select myself, and I can then attach my ID. If I'm happy with the terms and conditions, I will then click on all the agreements and click on sign. However, if I went through the terms and conditions and I was not happy, I will then click on dispute. Busi, I think the last time you wanted to see what the dispute function would look like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to click on dispute. Okay, so once somebody actually disputes the terms and conditions, they are able to download. You see here, it says download agreement. So they are able to download your terms and conditions. The reason it downloads into a Word document is so that they can change or specify what they are not happy with. So let's say I will decide that I'm not happy with the entire 15, clause 15. I'm going to delete clause 15, and then I'm going to save this document. Okay, and then what then this allows is that I'm going to upload my edited document. Okay, they will then be able to upload their edited documents and also just have a motivation here. And once they've done that, they'll click on next, and then the customer will be able to submit the application. Okay, so what will then happen at this stage is that the legal dispute representative would have received an email. Now I just quickly have to make myself legal dispute. Okay, so as a legal dispute person, I would have received an email. This is what the email would look like. So as you can see here, it says that your action is required in relation to whatever application. The terms and conditions have been disputed and require resolution for the below reasons. So I just said not happy with clause 15 because of company policies. Then the legal dispute representative will be able to click on view dispute. They will then be able to see why I'm not happy, and also they'll be able to see the modified or amended terms and conditions. Okay, and then now based on that, this is now sort of an outside of system process, because obviously now when they see what has been disputed, they might get the salesperson involved, they might get credit involved, get other people involved, and get the customer to sign an updated or amended terms and conditions. Once they have signed the terms and conditions, then the legal dispute representative, can you see here? They will sign it and the customer will sign it, and they will then attach the amended terms and conditions, the one that they have now agreed with the customer that these are the terms and conditions, we have changed this and changed that, and they will then send it for review. When they send it for review, it goes back to the customer. Okay, so the customer will get an email that looks like this, that you recently resolved and signed the amended terms and conditions for the application to become an Ellies electronic customer. The amended signed terms and conditions are here, and then they just need to click on this button so that they can review the terms and conditions. They click on review terms, and if they are happy that this is the document that they signed and the document they agreed to, they will then click on proceed. If they feel like this is not what they agreed to, they can still dispute it, and it will follow the similar process up until an agreement has been reached. Happy, Busi? Any questions with regards to this process?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, so now the application, let's just take it from the beginning. It has gone from the initiation phase, which is usually handled by sales. It went to credit so that they can pre-approve the application so that it gets sent to the customer. It went to the customer. The customer completed the application, however, disputed the terms and conditions. It went back to Ellies so that the legal representative can have a look at what is disputed and come to an agreement with the customer. An agreement was reached, and then the customer also confirmed that an agreement was reached. And now the application is with Inoxico for the risk check and to call the trade references, to do the bank code, to look at all of the information, and to compile our credit report. Okay. Any questions, guys? Anything?
Silence means concern. It means they understand.
Yeah, very concerned. I'm very
I've got a
concerned.
question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've got a question.
Yes.
The pre-approved part, who's
Yes.
supposed to do it, the credit controller or the manager?
Busi?
Yes.
So who does the pre-approval part? Is it the credit controller or the manager?
Is this when it from sales or from us, from the customer?
From sales.
No, from sales.
It comes to the credit controller.
Okay,
It's the credit controller.
Yes.
all right.
Okay.
So basically, the credit controller there's those 5 pointers that are listed there at the bottom. Before you change the amount, it will tell you that this is a good customer, no adverse listing, no charges are found, and once you see anything alarming on those pointers, that's a deciding factor. That will then help you to say, wow, they're asking for 1 million, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you can then decrease that. But if you are a bit stuck, you can ask me, it's fine. And then the customer on his side as well, he will still amend that amount also. Maybe he will see it's too much, it's too little. Then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just the risk. It's just the risk assessment stage for us not to in-debt ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And any other questions? Okay, so if there's no further questions, what has now happened is, because of the training, we basically fast-track the Inoxico process. So Inoxico has now compiled the credit report, and the application is sitting under final approval level 1, which is with you, Busi. Not with you because we're new at you, but the stage that you actually action. So what will then happen? Also, an email would have been sent to all of the people that are under the final approval team. You can click on it via email and click on view results. But also, just to teach you a hack, you can also do it in Action Center. So as you can see, this is the application here in Action Center. I can actually click on view and actually be able to action from there. If you do not have the access as a final approval, this view button will be grayed out.
So
Yeah.
another thing that I need to ask, when the customer is done and then it's coming into our environment for me to approve, will I get a notification or an email?
Yes, you will get an email directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, then now you can see this is the final approval stage, and this is the risk check or the quick score that was given. You can now view the application, the full application, just as before. We've gone through this one before. You can view the full application. You can view the Inoxico credit report. And then you can actually decide whether you are approving or declining. You'll also be able to see here that the terms and conditions were actually disputed and an agreement was reached, and you can view the new agreement document and action. And that's that. If it's an amount, as you can see, like if it's 70,000 Rand and we specified that between this amount and that amount, it goes for final approval level 2. After Busi, you have approved, it will then move to your final approval level 2. If final approval level 3 is also required, it will then move into final approval level 3.
Okay.
Okay, so in this instance, I'm going to say I'm happy because it's a medium risk. And I'm going to approve the application. And that's that. So now, just a reminder, when we go to the home page, there are 2 options available. There's the select process where you find all of the different types of applications that you can action and request. But most importantly, you also have the Action Center option. Now, Action Center, remember, Action Center is where all of your applications will be sitting. Those that are with customers, those that are under the final approval stage, those that are under the initial risk check stage, and those that have actually been completed. And you'll be able to see on Action Center how many were approved, how many were declined, and what are some of the reasons. And also you can access the full applications even after you'd have actually granted the specific customer an account. Whenever you need to go back and look at the full application and verify and check things, Action Center will be where everything that you action or that you've done through Fabric will sit. So if we click on view, you will be able to see now there's 2 applications that have been approved. There's 1 application under final approval level 1. There's 1 application under final approval level 2. There's 7 applications under initial risk check, and there are 2 applications that are sitting with the customer. And we do provide you with a document that explains what these different stages mean and where an application is actually sitting. So you don't have to memorize or remember this. We will provide you with the guideline. Okay, but if you are looking for a specific application, you can search for that application using the name. You can select by using the specific, whether it was a credit application, a consumer application, a credit limit application, or whatever type of other application you have, you can then select, and you can also select it based on product. And you can always go in and have a look. So you see my application moved to final approval level 2. Remember, I said if you don't have access to action, and as you can see, my view button is grayed out because I don't have access to final approval level 2. Okay, but another thing that you can actually do on Action Center is you can pull a status report. Now, this status report can let you know, maybe you want to see how many applications did we actually do for the month of November. You then click on status report, you click on the calendar, you can then say from the 1st of November up until now, the 11th of November, and you will click on download because you want to see within this period how many applications have been done, where exactly are those applications sitting, and who needs to action. This is what the status report would look like. Okay, and as you can see, it will just tell you from this date to that date, there's been 0 applications. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody happy? Any questions?
I can also say that on the Action Center, this is a really important place for you, because this tells you also, you know, who needs to do what. So we, you know, obviously we've put in the level of approval, so you can see, you know, is it sitting with Busi, is it sitting with Guy, where is my application, or if my client is stuck. So you can see they started completing it and then they didn't finish. And this is also, I suppose, from your side, also from a sales side, to say, this is when you would reach out to the customer and say, I see that you've gotten to this part of the, you know, of the application. What can I do to help you to get past that? You know, is it that they don't want to give bank statements? And then obviously you can make that decision for yourselves to say, client doesn't want to give bank statements. What does that mean to Ellies? And how do we move forward? So the Action Center is a really important place for you to track and see what's happening, and also for the salespeople to stop calling accounts and saying, why haven't you approved my application yet? Which is something I'm sure you get a lot. And they're putting pressure on you to say, you know, where is my customer and why have we not moved forward? So that's the Action Center. Any other questions around how the application looks, how it, you know, how your customer is going to go through this and the experience that they're going to have, and then obviously your side where you would approve or disapprove and or change credit limits. Obviously, I know you're not. Yes.
What is your comment, guys, with the new system coming in? Are you happy? Let's hear your views, guys.
I think it's a good system for me. We'll see
Thanks,
when working
Sophia.
on it. I'm so happy. I'm really happy. It's gonna make my work very easy.
Thank you.
And branches?
Yeah, we're also happy from Cape Town.
Excellent.
Thank
Okay.
you.
What we are going to do, you'll see that there is an invite going forward that we have set up for the next 4 weeks, where we are going to have interactive sessions with you. So please join. It's specifically for Ellies to say, you know, we're using the system, but we stuck here, or we don't like this, or we want you to add this in. So it's very much building the tool with you to make sure that it's working for you. And then to obviously answer any questions about if you're not understanding a process, or you just, you know, you just needed a refresher. Those sessions are specifically to help make sure that you know how to use the system and to make sure that we are here to support you.
Okay, thank you. We will only find that out when we actually start working with the applications. Then you can see, you know, then we will ask questions regarding that. And I also think that the salespeople, most definitely from Ellies, must sit in this, because it's all start with the salesperson, obviously.
Yes.
So once they, as you said, they've got them sitting in front of the customer, they have the relationship with the customer. It's just easy to make a sale, but if they do the work properly, it makes our work also much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to make sure that everybody has access to the system. Obviously, it is a live system, so it's not like this in the UAT space where it's coming through to a, you know, a fake mailbox. Let's put it that way. So you will be granted access after this. Obviously, the training for sales only takes place next week, Friday. But maybe what we can do in the meantime, I'll discuss it with Busi and see if we should rather do testing on the UAT space instead of the live space, or if you want to start doing like credit limit increases yourselves in the live space, now you can start doing that straight away.
I think it would be nice. I've got actually 3, so it would be nice, yeah, for me as a starter to see from there.
Perfect, absolutely. So let's do that. Let's make sure that you set up in the live space. Everybody will get their login details, which will be the same as your Inoxico core login details. If you have, forgot your password or you need us to reset, that's no problem. Just pop me an email and say that you need to reset your password for Inoxico core. It's the same login details, but it will bring you through to the Fabric workflow. I'll send that link to you as well after this call. And then start to do your credit limit increases and let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Any
Thanks,
other?
Amy.
Okay, great, excellent. So I'm going to pop you all an emails in a few minutes so that you have the link. And then by all means, if you want to chat to me on Teams or over email, you are welcome to do so.
Okay, thank you so much.
Excellent. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.